So in this one, I want to talk about Dr. Genus, get into who he is as a character, as well as his finer details, and why I think he's one of the most important characters in the series. I mean, he's actually pretty interesting, and not as black and white as you'd think. So let's get into it. So Dr. Genus is actually similar to the S-Class heroes, considering he was born with superhuman potential. And while it's not his physicality like most of the other heroes, it's more so his brilliance. I mean, as Dr. Genus says himself, heroes and other beings are born with the potential to become strong. In addition, there are those who are born with their brilliance. So this puts Dr. Genus into the same camp as heroes like Child Emperor and Metal Knight. But unfortunately, Dr. Genus's inherent genius made him misanthropic, as it's implied he was ridiculed at a young age and began to see humanity beneath him. At around 15, he came up with this plan to evolve humanity artificially, which he essentially wanted to create a dystopian future to his liking. But oddly enough, he would go on to help humanity with his various contributions to the world with his scientific discoveries. Despite this, the scientific community didn't want to support his experiments or theories, probably because they were weird and unethical, with the whole wanting to create an artificially advanced species of humans and all. This pushed Dr. Genus to become a recluse in his research for the next several decades, until the age of 70, when he made a significant scientific breakthrough, and afterwards he actually regained his youth. And this poses an interesting question, because we don't really have any timelines on this stuff. So if Dr. Genus made his breakthrough at 70, then how old is he currently in the series? Well, the artist of the One Punch Man manga, Murata, actually gave us an answer to this, because in his stream, he said he should be somewhere near 100 years old right now, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, he went on to even clone himself, and made like a legion of his clones, and after this, he created the House of Evolution that we all know and love today. Well, it was eventually, until it was destroyed by Genos. But here he conducted experiments on animals and even humans, and during this time he would go on to create the mysterious beings Kamakuri, Frogman, Sluggerus, Ground Dragon, Mosquito Girl, Armored Gorilla, Beast King, and Carnage Kabuto. This goes to show that Dr. Genus is no joke, really, and created pretty powerful monsters. I mean, they range from like tigers to demons, and even in Carnage Kabuto's case, dragons. I mean, especially in Carnage Kabuto, because he claims to be his greatest experiment, and I think it's safe to say he's one of the strongest monsters we ever seen in the series. But aside from the animals that he's experimented on, as I've said, it was humans as well. And one of these humans, believe it or not, was the S-Class hero Zombie Man, and this apparently happened 10 years ago during an experiment called the Immortal series, and we could just assume he wanted to create a human that has the powers of Zombie Man, and apparently Zombie Man was the only human strong enough to survive this experiment, and he gained said abilities. He also calls Zombie Man Sample 66, so this could mean there was at least 66 other people. I think this goes to show that Dr. Genus is already a pretty important character. He's actually one of the first characters introduced in the series, along with a good backstory that quite a few other main characters lack, and he actually has a lot of depth to him as well. I'd even go as far as saying that one has even somewhat given him a redemption. Since first of all, he wasn't killed at the end of the House of Evolution little mini arc when he easily could have been, and after Saitama defeats Carnage Kabuto, he abandons his goals and says that he himself is the one who needs to change. I think this also adds to the moral ambiguity of Dr. Genus, so don't get me wrong, he's definitely not good and has done a lot of egregious things, but there's some aspects of himself that question him overall. First of all, with him initially lending his scientific knowledge to the world, but also not exactly wanting to end humanity, but rather better it in his own twisted way. I think most of Dr. Genus's villainy comes more so from his upbringing and his eventual rejection from the scientific community, but of course the seed of his evil ways was always there. He's kind of just misguided, I guess. But he also deems Carnage Kabuto a failure for being mentally unstable and having a lack of humanity, which I think further adds to the moral ambiguity of Dr. Genus. Any other mad scientists would be happy with that, I guess, and the eventual death and destruction that Carnage Kabuto could cause. But it seems like he wanted something different, something more than just chaos. But it also goes back to the redemption that one gave him with his self-reflection and eventual change of his life path, where he went on to live a quiet life owning a takoyaki stand. He chose this specifically because he discovered a way of producing an unlimited amount of octopus tentacles. But this brings us to the ultimate purpose of Dr. Genus, and why I think he is one of the most important characters in the series. So when Zombie-Man discovers the takoyaki stand in Chapter 88, Dr. Genus gives us some of the most important exposition in the entire series. Not only does he explain in detail what monster/mysterious beings are, he explains the nuances of hero and superhuman abilities, but most importantly, he explains the secret of Saitama's power. This is the first and only time we find out about the limiter. Before this, it was a gigantic mystery as to why Saitama is as strong as he is. But Dr. Genus, he is the only character in the series who is able to somewhat quantify Saitama's power. This is why one handled this character with such care and fleshed him out the way that he did, and didn't just kill him off in the beginning like most of the other villains. Dr. Genus is the mouthpiece for important exposition that no other character can provide, and rather than just handling it with typical throwaway characters like other series do, one decided to create Dr. Genus. Now, one also uses Child Emperor for a similar purpose, but not even he has been giving a deeper understanding of the inner working of the series the way that Dr. Genus has. Now, I'm aware that their field of expertise are in different areas, but it doesn't really give Dr. Genus any less significance, and probably even more significant than Child Emperor, just in my opinion. And this may be the last time we see Dr. Genus in the manga, but his importance to the series as well as his expositional drops are far from over. But in order for me to get into that, I'm going to have to go into webcomic spoilers, so if you don't want to know what's going to happen, I suggest you check out now. So after the war with the Monster Association and the final battle with the Waif Garo, Zombie-Man returns to the takoyaki stand to speak with Dr. Genus again. Zombie-Man confirmed that everything Dr. Genus said about Saitama and the limiter was true. This is something that he was initially skeptical about, but after witnessing Saitama's power for himself, he couldn't deny it any longer. He then asked Dr. Genus to remove his own limiter, to which Dr. Genus refuses. But then says something extremely interesting. He says this house has a basement too. There's something interesting there I want to show you. This is the last time that we see Dr. Genus or Zombie-Man in the webcomic as of Chapter 107, so we still don't know what this all means. But for the fun of speculation, I guess we could assume he has some kind of experiment down there, right? We also have to remember that the original House of Evolution primarily resided in its basement as well. And since they discuss the limiter in this scene, it could possibly relate to that. It's possible the experiment that Dr. Genus is working on is something similar to what Psychos was doing with Orochi, meaning that he could be trying to force someone to remove their limiter, or maybe it's something synthetic. We also have to acknowledge that he said no when Zombie-Man asked to remove his own limiter. So this could mean either he simply can't because he hasn't discovered how to successfully remove someone's limiter, or due to Zombie-Man's body and powers, he's just unable to do so on him specifically. Either way, I think we can expect another huge bombshell to be dropped by Dr. Genus in the future of the story. So that's pretty much it. This is why I think Dr. Genus is one of the most important characters in this series. One of my favorite characters personally. So let me know what you think about him. Let me know what you think about everything I said regarding his significance to the series. And if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. See you in the next one.